Boba Fett. Boba Fett. Where?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Guys, I've got Vancele, the bounty hunter extraordinaire here, guys. He knows his bounty hunters better than probably anyone. He's got an eccentrically amazing bounty hunter roster. He's also good with scoundrels. You can see his Vander Chewy is Relic 8 when no one else on the roster or on his arena team, his number 2 ranked arena team, besides Kat, is Relic 8, but she's a scoundrel, so you might expect that. So, Clone Wars Chewy, all the stuff. And Seal, love this arena team. It's baffling. Tell us just a tiny bit about how this works before we dive into bounty hunters and teams you can use.
So, I can't take credit for it. This is Vego. This is his team. So if you're in the scoundrel community, you know who that is. He also has a YouTube channel. But pretty much in the mirror match with Cat, Vandor Chewy is going to res our tank versus our opponent. When our Cat goes, they lose their GK. Our Clone Wars Chewy dies, but he comes back, and we essentially have a tank that won't die. And then also Cat, if she dies, she can come back. So that's pretty much the gist of it.
Awesome, man. Yeah, gonna be cool. So guys, we're talking about bounty hunters. Everyone has now, like, we're gonna get Executor, we're going to get Lord Vader, and all these other galactic legends are requiring bounty hunters to be geared to some degree. The only ones we don't really need for those unlocks are gonna be like Greedo, Zam, and Embo currently, and I guess a couple others aren't needed all the way. I'm trying to think. I guess Grief and Mando are still needed to some degree
You only
for
need
the
them to be
BAM
startup.
event.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it behooves you like to get relics on them all. So that being said, you can see Vancele's got all Relic 8 bounty hunters, so he knows what he's talking about. He does it all the time, and I'm going to leave a link to his YouTube channel and to his Twitch channel in the video description. So please do yourselves a favor, go like him on both of those. And yeah, otherwise, folks, this he knows what he's talking about. We're going to go to my account here, though, and look at my inferior bounty hunters. Though, frankly, I have most of them relict as well. So, they just don't have the crazy mods. We're going to kind of go through Vancele. We were discussing on how to kind of approach this. And I'm just excited to, like, we could talk about bounty hunters and kind of just go through like from beginner level through all the way through the to like advanced level, and how to use these characters that we're gonna have them relict, like what we may as well get some use out of them. So uh you know
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think this is gonna be a great video. Like I said, I've always wanted to do this, and I just never had the right format. And I think it does benefit to have another person as well, just to get like two different opinions on it.
right. Also, I mean, and I told you before the video, like I consider myself like an intermediate level bounty hunter player. I love bounty hunters. I've always thought that they were a fundamental core team to this game, actually. And they're even more so now. But uh, I also I don't have the eccentric, like, oh, just use Greedo and he'll win the whole battle for you kind of builds. I just don't have the faith or the gear for
Uh,
that.
yeah, I do love Greedo. He is awesome.
Yeah, I will say there was one time with my alt, I was like, all right, I always do the bounty hunter mirror match on my alt because I have better mods usually and I know how to play them. And the one time that I just lost super hard was, and it was on stream, everyone was laughing. Greedo got like over 10 shots in a row on me and just killed my Bossk just straight up, and I was
It
like,
it happens sometimes. Like I can't explain it. The most I've ever gotten before, and actually did record it too, was a 14 against the C pit. However, I did have to retreat that battle because Greedo did too much
no.
damage. So the C pit ended up killing me. But I was like, I got the footage, so I mean, he just was going off, and I was like looking at my screen. I'm like, okay, you're done, you done,
Yeah.
you done. I'm just like, okay, keep going.
Yeah, I know, Greedo, ruiner of all things good.
Yeah.
That's fun. So, all right. So the first team, we're going the very beginning team, and this is pretty approachable for most people. You get a farm, bot like they're not necessarily like super easy farms, but I mean, Cad Bane is they're all like necessary characters though. So Like how does what kind of things are you killing with this? I have some experience with this team too, but what are your thoughts initially?
So the reason why I like this as a beginning team is because even like for early players, like even if you don't have relics, you're not even facing opponents with relics, this team does so much for you that a lot of characters aren't, because you got two characters that ignore taunt that can be revived, and they can also gain their life back if they kill someone and get bounty hunters resolve again. Bossk lead is, like, for a new player, should be one of your first Zetas. I'm not trying to be biased about that, but just it
Yeah.
is such a good Zeta, and you're gonna get so many miles out of Bossk. I mean, we're not even gonna mention Houndstooth, but that ship speaks for itself. But this team is just it's just solid. It's just a solid team. You get a lot of extra defense and health and tenacity from the Bossk lead. It's just an easy team for the AI to play. So this works very well in offense and defense, and that's kind of why I really like this team. It's a very user friendly team.
Absolutely. I think my favorite thing is Dengar is just kind of like the healer on the team, which is funny.
Yeah.
It's a like you have your traditional D&D squad and Dengar's like, I'll be the healer.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, thanks, Dengar. That's
Yeah,
cool.
Dengar's AoE under Bossk lead is like pretty much instant full heal for everybody. And the best part
Yeah.
about it is it doesn't even need to land. He just needs to use it. Yeah, Dengar is super solid on this team. And once the contract gets completed, Dengar gets even more valuable, because then he can start calling more people to assist a lot. He gets faster. He does have very low speed, but he gains a lot of speed once the contract gets completed. And then Bossk, giving everyone an additional 50 speed also helps. So then you look at Boba Fett too. Under this Bossk lead, Boba actually gets a total plus 100 speed when the contract gets completed. So he's gonna start going a lot more often.
Yeah, man. I think this is one of my favorite early squads, and people would be well. I mean, it's just got everything. It's got two different ways to dispel in Cad Bane and Boba. It's got two guys who can cause permanent death in the two Fets. It's got the taunt that doesn't go away just with a random dispel. Like it'll go away sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's got the resilience in healing. It's got tenacity down from Dengar, so you can land your debuffs on guys with high tenacity. I mean, it's just got it all, and
Yep.
relatively easy to farm and use. And you're right. I think on my Prevail Man account, which it's like a 2.3 million account. I think that was the second Zeta I put down. I put EP lead, just because it goes so well with Vader, and then Bossk lead, and then Merciless Massacre. Like that.
Yeah.
That's how important it is. So, um, yeah, absolutely. That I love that team. That team is going nowhere, in my opinion. Especially, I was gonna start discouraging people from farming Dengar, and then now Executor
Now,
requires
yeah.
it.
Now you need him, but he's just such a good character. It's just unfortunate that we just have better bounty hunters now, where he kind of gets pushed aside. Plus, the only sad part about farming Dengar is he takes a lot of Carbontes, which no one ever likes that. So that doesn't really help his case to farm him.
You're right. It's irritating. Plus, he's got like what is that on his head? I've always it's like did he get injured and he's just like
Yeah. So in the old canon, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I remember, that is an injury he sustained from Han Solo. Han
oh,
Solo shot him in the head, I believe. So he has this wrap that he has to wear, kind of as a bandage, so to speak.
oh, all right, go Han Solo.
Yeah.
So, all right, our next team up, guys, we've got Jango Lead, which I've always, in theory, loved Jango Lead. It's frustrating to use after you use Bossk because you don't have all the healing and stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, this has a lot of similar elements, same characters, and then Zam, which obviously I value less than the rest because she's purple, and the rest of them are whatever red
And
colored.
that's totally understandable, because this is probably the only team I actually use Zam on. The only reason I wanted to include Zam on this team is because this is probably the most practical place to use her at the moment. Because she's so fast, and because her bombs that she throws are undispellable. So that kind of sets you up for the contract. Because Django's contract is you have to damage debuffed enemies. So if your Zam goes really early, like let's say she goes right after your boss goes, like one speed, That kind of sets your team up to get a really fast contract since you have Jango's AoE, you got Boba's AoE, you have Boss Mass Assist, and then you have Dengar to finish the whole contract off. But yeah, Zam at the moment, until we get some more thermal detonator synergy, I try to kind of keep her away from this. You could always put Grief or Mando on this team as well. But this is a great team. This is the team I actually ran years ago during the Treya meta. And Trey, I was taking out Gear 12 Treyas with my 4-star Jango Fett because I was on a whale back then. And the main thing is because Jango lead, the burn prevents turn meter gain, and that's such a huge bonus for his lead. And the tenacity and potency that the potency that your team gains and the tenacity, the tenacity and potency that your opponent loses. That's right, that's what it is. Your opponent gets minus 20% potency for each debuff on bounty hunter allies, and then they just get a flat minus 40% tenacity. It makes it really easy to land those bombs and that burn. And I have fought against EP teams before Jango lead, where like let's just say you got 1 or 2 debuffed characters, and then EP will do his AoE stun, and nobody gets stunned because your opponent has like almost no potency. So it's pretty nice there. The contract reward is it's a little bit wonky. Like giving everyone bounty hunters resolve is cool because everyone gets a second life and they can all ignore taunt. The only thing I don't like about it is they don't get it until they take another turn. So sometimes when you're tackling some of those bigger teams like Darth Revan, sometimes some of your characters don't get that turn and then they don't get that extra life, and then it gets a little bit dicey there. But the extra speed with Jango is great. I mean, you can throw Quill on this team as a scoundrel, and he'll get that plus 30 speed, and then you could just use Quill as a turn meter engine for this whole team. So
yeah, this is a really cool build. So yeah, if people don't want to use Zam, then just throw in Grief or
Mando, Quill. Yeah, I mean, like that 5th spot can be almost anybody really.
Almost. Sorry, Zam. You're unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, why is she in the game?
But another good one on the team. I just remembered Enfys Nest with Jango.
Sure.
Yeah, that is great. Getting a really fast Nest because, like I said, she can go first, debuff everybody, then you're all set up for your contract. So that was the other one I forgot to mention.
Plus, Nest has a helmet, and that seems important. Like most of the bounty hunters you can see on this team, they either have like a helmet or like a head crest thing in case of Bossk. So seems like bounty hunters need that. That's a necessary element as
Absolutely.
well. Yep. Yeah.
Looking cool is half the battle.
It seems like it. I've never won that half of the battle personally, but something to aspire to. So, all right, next team, one of my favorites. This is the one that people will see me using on streams all the time. Is Aurra lead, and I mean, it's just so cool if you can make your Bossk and Grief fast. I think that's the biggest thing. And I bet your speed on them puts me to shame, but I've got to flex a tiny bit.
I think you're faster than me, actually. You're faster than me.
Look at
you're faster than me by about 3 or 4 speed, I think.
Yes. So. Yes. That's what I wanted. Okay, stream's over. The video's over. Now
he said it.
Yeah. So we want Bossk at a high speed, and then Grief 1 speed lower. What else do you have to do? Let's hear it from your mouth, so then I can determine what I'm doing wrong here.
So that's honestly, that's probably one of the most important parts about this whole team is getting that turn order correct. The rest of the team, you really want to make sure they're modded for damage, because the thing with Aurra Sing is she kind of almost has a leadership very similar to like General Veers, where when you kill somebody, you're going to gain turn meter and you're recovering protection. So you just kind of want to keep that turn meter train going and going and going. You want to make sure, like, you don't just kill one person, disintegrate, and then all of a sudden you're flustered and be like, oh, my disintegrate's on cooldown. You want to make sure you follow up with Boba Fett to kill somebody, Aurra's killing somebody, or you have a mass assist from Grief. You want to make sure they're hitting hard. So Boba, Aurra, and Mando don't need to be fast at all. They don't need to be fast on the team. They just need to be doing damage. So I would say, like, honestly, Boba can be around, I don't know, like, I'm making a video right now about Boba, but 260 to 280, honestly, like, he doesn't need to be very fast, because when he gets his contract, when his payout, sorry, not his contract, his payout gives him plus 50 speed anyways. And then Mando, I mean, you and I both know how much TM Mando puts out. I mean, that dude is a TM train.
Right. I tend to, for him, I've gone a little overboard on my crit chance mods just because I.
Oh no, that's fine. Oh, you have six though. Okay, no. You have six. That's a lot. But no, that's super important. You want to make sure he is critting because if he does not crit, um, things might go bad. But yeah, no, he needs to crit. It's very important. I think I think you're not making a bad call. I think that's if he doesn't crit, his kit is pretty much useless. So um, that's a you got that guaranteed crit, guaranteed turn meter, guaranteed to reduce his cooldowns on his disintegrate. That's also very important because
Right.
he needs crit chance and crit damage up in order to use disintegrate. Otherwise, the ability goes away, which is so weird. I don't know why they did that, but I guess
My
they.
guess is,
Okay.
yeah. I think they probably just tested it and they were like, you know what, he's like a little too good on what we want to do. And someone's
Yeah.
like, well, what if we just give him a conditional buff to be able to use his
That,
best ability?
that's kind of what it feels like. Yeah. But no, this team is great just because once you start to get to use Mando and Grief, and I feel like those are more like more of the not end game like characters, but like those are definitely characters that take down much tougher teams. Resetting everyone's cooldowns with Grief is fantastic on this team. Um, I mean, you just get to go, and like I said, this team is a turn meter train. You can take down Darth Revan, you can take down Bam. It's pretty much anything below that you can take down. Like you said earlier, it's all about how fast you can make Bossk and Grief, and that's kind of determines on what the teams you can kill.
Yeah, if you can make Mando fast enough, then you can also take out General Skywalker teams as well. You have to Aura and Mando fast as well, though, and you have to have a fast Gideon, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
kind of a
so
mess.
so let's talk on that for a second. Yeah, so the turn order for that is, and there's no discussion for this. It's literally or debate. There's no debate. The turn order has to be, um, it has to be Gideon. Then has to go Boss, Grief, or a Mando. Mando has to be the last because General Skywalker prevents you from critting when you
Right.
attack out of turn. So there's not going to be any turn meter generation. So that means no matter what happens, since there's no turn meter generation, Mando has to be last because that's when you complete your contract, and you don't want to complete it after he took his first turn. You want to complete it before his first turn or upon his first turn. That way you can take out gas. But yeah, and then that what, honestly though, I'm glad you brought that up because that actually this is going to be my counter to gas in the future. So once they make those changes where gas stands up in 5 more turns, like
Right.
I'm not gonna be able to use CLS anymore. I don't
Yep.
want to use a GL against gas, so this might be my permanent gas counter from now on.
No, I've had that exact same thought. In fact, yeah, I'm starting to get ready for it. The problem being, sometimes if someone makes their Rex fast enough, this team just can't work. If the
Yeah,
Rex is
yeah, you
faster
have.
than your Gideon,
Yep.
then you're screwed.
Yeah, that's literally what comes down to is just speed. You have to speed. But then if you don't use it for that, you just take out something else, I guess.
Something you're like, I'm way over geared for modded for this, but yes. Yeah. So, all right, the other two teams now. This is kind of more of so that was kind of more of the more advanced one, and then you have the ability to do this because you have Relic 8 on everyone. You have Zetas. You have
Yes.
amazing fundamental knowledge of these guys. You put good mods on them. But I wanted to know what's the best way to split? If you're just like, all right, I'm gonna just gear all of these bounty hunters. We're gonna get them all ready. How do you split them up in GAC if you wanted to go crazy and have two teams in 5v5?
So I get this question a lot. What's the best two bounty hunter teams? And honestly, these are the two teams I've been using recently. They may not be the best two, but it really depends on what you're going up against. So the top team I used to kill Darth Revan, and then the bottom team I used to kill a First Order team. So typically, when I split up my bounty hunters, I have what's called like the core of the team that I usually don't break up ever. Like I usually that's my rule because then the team is going to fail. So my core, if you kind of look at the first three characters for both teams, those are also 3v3 teams where you have your Aura,
Yep.
Mando, Grief, and then your Bossk, Boba, Dengar. Like those characters just synergize very, very well together. And then the last two characters kind of just are like fillers. Like, okay, who's gonna actually help contribute to the contract, and then who's also gonna like pull their weight in terms of damage. Um, so Greedo has been my like MVP for the last 2 months or so. I absolutely love Greedo. I used to hate this guy forever. I still don't like his kit. I still think his kit is like it doesn't work because the cooldowns are so long to the point where it's like I don't know, his kit just doesn't work well, but he does work in certain ways, and mainly it's threatened. And CG actually just put out a post today how they're changing it towards I guess making it going to work towards differently towards GL and raid bosses. But threaten, in my opinion, has I think is one of the coolest abilities in the whole game. It does a whole lot, and mainly what this does is it reduces turn meter based on Greedo's crit chance, which he has a lot of crit chance. And the funny thing is this ability gives him crit chance up before it even starts to remove turn meter. But it's basically turn meter removal. You stun the character, you dispel the character, and if you could time that perfectly with Aurra, you get to do it back to back. Because let's say like your contract's at 90% and then it's Greedo's turn. Well, he gets to remove turn meter from, assuming the character with the most turn meter on your opponent's team, he gets to take another turn, and then Grief reduces everyone's cooldown, so he gets to do that again. And I think that's a huge power play right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you can time it that way.
If you can time it that way. And then also, like you said, before we started doing this, Greedo can sometimes just start popping off. And I've had it happen before where I'll have Grief call to assist, and then Greedo attacks 4 or 5 times, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, a contract's completed in one ability. That's nice.
Yeah, that doesn't suck. Yeah.
No, that doesn't suck at all. I'm like, okay, it's kind of cool. Can't rely on it, but when it happens, anything extra is really nice. But yeah, so like I said, I don't like to break up my core team. Aurra, Grief, and Mando work so well together. Jango Fett, sometimes I use them with Separatists, but if I'm splitting my bounty hunters up, I'm definitely going to put them on at least one team. And then going down to the bottom team with Bossk, just like the first team we talked about, it's a very easy team to manage. Cad Bane is great with the stun and the dispel. He also removes turn meter a little bit. He could also remove max protection if the character is debuffed. Kind of similar to how Jango Fett removes max health with his conflagration. Cad Bane does max protection, which is nice. And then 88 has an AoE ability block, which is kind of cool. And then if you give him the Zeta, the target lock turns into healing immunity. So this is kind of how I split the bounty hunters up. But like I said, a lot of it comes down to just what 2 teams are you trying to take out? Are you trying to take out a Mon Mothma and like a Old Republic team, or are you trying to take down Darth Revan in First Order? A lot of it just comes down to speed. Can you beat them in speed? Because how you said you have a lot of crit chance on Mando.
Yeah.
So when you run your Aurra team against Darth Revan, it's a little bit safer because you have 2 chances for Mando to crit, because you have Bossk's mass assist and Grief's mass assist. I have 1 chance. If my Grief does not, if Mando doesn't crit with Grief's mass assist in a DR team, I'm dead immediately. So a little bit risky, but once you get the high enough relics, like you're going to be well over that 100% crit chance.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Yeah, you've actually made me want to gear Greedo now. Actually, it makes me really interested to see what he can do. I mean, I don't even know what I'd use him. I doubt it's practical for my build. Like in general, guys. I mean, frankly, for those of you watching, like this is a really cool split, and I actually think that this could be practical. I think in a lot of ways, though, like Vancele, maybe I'm wrong. You can correct me, but a lot of times you're going to be leaning on those relic levels, though, in order to make up for kind of the inherent, like you're missing. Like Aurra wants Bossk there real bad, but if she can't have him, maybe you have enough relics to pull through anyways.
Absolutely. So the thing with Aurra is you have to do 10 abilities. You have to do 10 moves while you're stealth, or no stealth, sorry, while you're buffed. You have Mando who can call to assist. And when I use this team, I always call Greedo, because Greedo can he has 3 opportunities to go off. He has Grief's mass assist, so Greedo can, and that's the thing. If Greedo even attacks 1 extra time, that's a bonus. That is 100% a bonus in my eyes. If he attacks 2 extra times, that's huge, because I'm getting my contract that much faster. Mando can call him to assist, and then he has his own turn. And then you have Jango Fett who double taps, and I think that is a very very good team. I wouldn't say go after Darth Revan right away, but I would say this is definitely a way to get your contract fast with Aurra. You know, this is the best way to split Grief and Boss because that's ultimately the goal when you split your bounty hunters. You definitely don't want to use a squad without either of them because getting your contract is very difficult.
That's fair. I think the other use for Greedo is 3v3. You just throw him with Han and Solo, or Han and Chewie in
Yes,
3v3, and
that's what I do. Yes, it's yeah,
get
because
that
he
extra.
gives all scoundrels 50% crit damage. So
Yeah,
um and like I said, he is squishy, so putting guard on him definitely makes a difference. So and then you have three
absolutely.
characters who could stun, so that's kind of fun right there.
Oh, that's true. Absolutely. Well, I think that's about it for today. We've talked about 5v5 stuff. Maybe one day we'll do a 3v3 version of this. Probably end up posting this right in the middle of a 3v3 season. So hopefully it's instead of it being a wasted effort, people will see this as an oasis and bastion that we can use to escape the evils of 3v3.
3v3 is not that bad, but yeah, I
You're
don't know.
right.
Most people don't prefer it.
A lot of people prefer not to. But that being
Yeah.
said, I like 3v3, but this isn't about defending 3v3. So what other is there anything else you want to talk about with bounty hunters? With Embo's not here. Why are we not using Embo?
Embo. So I know there's a lot of people like Embo out there. A lot of people like him for the cool animations, and don't get me wrong, he's got some cool animations. Embo is great for Sith raid, great for PVE stuff. The thing is, you have to invest a lot into Embo for him to be worth it. And what I mean by that is, he has a disp on his basic, which is great. You can slap him under a boss lead and like he'll work fine. You can slap honestly any bounty hunter under a boss lead and they'll work fine. Problem with Embo is he doesn't have an AOE and he doesn't debuff. So he doesn't really contribute to contracts a whole lot. And he yeah, he's just got a very odd kit. His lead is different though. His lead can work, however, it gets shut down very easily. So right now, I think his kit is I don't want to say it's outdated. It just doesn't synergize well with the bounty hunter teams where people are using right now. Like I said, most people that I see using Embo, they put him under a boss lead, and I think that's his best spot, either as a fifth or a fourth on the team. But I'm not using him a whole lot right now. And usually in 3v3, he's kind of a leftover character. Just that hat toss has always been what holds me back from using him because I feel like the damage output that you get is not really worth it because you're losing 50% of your protection. Now, when you have no protection, it's great because it's like I'm not losing that protection, but the damage output it's not there right now.
That's fair. I like Embo well enough, but yeah, we can move on from him. His hat toss aside, we can. It's funny. You're like, I don't like him for his hat toss. I'm like, that's the reason I like him. Like, who throws his hat? It's so ludicrous. But
It's such a cool animation, and the extra ability he gets after the little kick he does is also really cool.
yeah, I'm trying to. I'm thinking right now. Like, I think all the bounty hunters have hats or like head crest things.
They
Like
have
like
something, yeah.
like Greedo and Bossk don't have it, but they're like weird alien head things. I guess Grief is like the one odd man out. He's like, I
He's
barely
only
have hair.
he's the only normal guy. Yeah,
Yeah, everyone else has a hat. It's
yeah.
mandatory. So, all right. Anything else you'd like to say, Vancele?
Not much other than just I'm excited for the Executor. I can't wait for it to come out, and I can't wait to see what it does with bounty hunters. So
Oh yeah, I was totally even gonna mention that, guys. Yeah, go follow Vancile. He's gonna have an executor as quickly as possible. He's got all the best. Like he practices. Honestly, we could make a video about bounty hunter ships, and maybe what we can do is one day you can make a video with me, like walking me through how to use executor to take down some of these guys. Because I'm excited for that. And you have all the tech, so. Um, yeah, it's gonna be fun. Go follow him on Twitch at like very active on Twitch. He tests all the time. You can get in on that. Check him out on YouTube as well. And that being said, Vincile, thank you so much for coming on with me, man.
thank you for having me, man. Anytime.
Awesome, guys. Thank you, and thank you to everyone here for watching. And remember that in all things, bounty hunters prevail.